Rule number 5, take out the bad guys, do not shoot the good guys.
Hello, welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host Thomas, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Brian. Hello. This week is Femme Part 2, and we're looking at the films Nikita and its US remake Point of No Return, The Villainess, and Red Sparrow. And we're kicking off with Nikita.
Elle vous a dit en quoi consistait mon travail? Non.
Yep, 1990, Nikita, directed by and written by Luc Besson, also known for the Transporter trilogy, Taken. Yeah, a lot of action films, essentially. Yeah, also, Fifth Element is probably his big one. I'd say Transporter. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I never even thought about pronouncing these names. Anne Parilod as Nikita. Tsheki Cario, I think. Cario is Bob, if I'm saying his name right. And we recently met him in the Bad Boys episode. He was the main villain of the first Bad Boys movie. Yeah. In this, he plays a recruiter. The synopsis, as IMDb has it, is convicted felon Nikita isn't going to jail. She's given a new identity and trained stylishly as a top secret spy/assassin. I question the word stylishly for this, but it was 1990, so maybe it was stylishly. I think that's a word in the synopsis that's not needed. Yeah. Whoever wrote that for IMDb. What do you want to say about this then? I know it has such a reputation for being a Kickstarter of these sort of... It definitely seems to be the big front drawer of the female assassin genre. Yeah. That pretty much allowed for the films we discussed last week to happen. But in comparison to them, I was a little disappointed. Yeah. It was okay. But I think the opening scene looks great. That initial opening scene had me hooked. I was like, oh, I cannot wait to see more of this. Because it reminded me of The Warriors if it was European. You know, there was a certain neon European vibe from it that just looked great for a film of the turn of the decade, I guess. Yeah, and I don't feel it lives up to anything from that. No, I mean, it takes a long time for the action to really kick off, but I guess it's focusing on the drama of being recruit trained and it was quite interesting, but it's just not. I don't know. I think maybe it's because that oversold over the years. You kind of expect it to be a bit more. Not the other films were like we discussed last week. You kind of expect a bit more action. Yeah, I think. Also, I don't think the TV remakes have helped either because they're a bit more action oriented. There was one in the late 90s, which is like an episodic spy drama thing, isn't it? And then there was the CW one from 10 years ago. Would that be now or more? Yeah, that's 2010. And that had Maggie Q as Nikita. Yeah. That had some of the style that is kept from this, though. Yeah. In a way. There's a training ground where they're learning to do the combat and the martial arts and so on. The design of that is very similar to what that show kept. Yeah. And again, that carries over to the remake, Point of No Return, from just 3 years later. Yeah. But there's some really weird things in this. Like, I think it's the prison where they collect her from. And it just looks like a dog pound. Yeah. The cells look too small and very much like weird metal meshy cages. And I don't know if that is a French prison holding or not, but it didn't sell me on it being a holding containment area for actual prisoners. No, it just looked like they wanted to film our location and they were just like, this is available. It's all we've got. Because the height of the cages in the hallway that it was in, or the room it was in anyway, weren't even near the door frame. So it's like, what is this? What is going on? But again, a lot of them characters though from that opening scene, I thought they were going to be like mainstays to come back later. Yeah. Sadly not the case. Jean Reno has a part in this, though. He played Victor Nataye, I think, if I'm saying the name right. And he's like a cleaner that comes in to help clean one of the scenes. Yeah. I don't feel I have much to say on this, which is a shame. Once you've talked about the plot, I don't feel there is much. Like, the action's okay. Yeah. I think it's... Anything great? No. There is a scene in this, though, that crops up in other things. especially this sort of female assassin genre, and it's the scene where she's sniping from the bathroom window.
Yeah.
Because again, it's done in Point of No Return.
Yeah.
But one of the other films we'll discuss in The Villainess had a scene similar as well.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's a scene you'll recognise from other films and TV shows.
Yeah.
There's been similar things.
When you were on about that, I thought you were just going to say odd action scenes in kitchens.
Oh yeah, I don't know where this trope started about with these action films, martial art films and stuff, but there has to be a fight in the kitchen.
I mean, you got to make your way
Like
to
this.
that kitchen.
There's a weird shootout in here where there's one. Monkey Man earlier this year had one.
Yeah.
One of the John Wicks. The Raid Part 2 had one.
Yeah.
For some reason, my mind's drawing a blank now,
But there are many.
yeah, it's such a weird trope.
Yeah, there's not just the TV remakes in Point of No Return. There is the Hong Kong remake from just a year after.
Yeah.
And that had a sequel the year after that. So that's like two like things just
Then
in between.
Bollywood, you said, remade it.
Yeah.
Late 90s.
99.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hong Kong one's Black Cat and the Bollywood one is Carouse. I don't know. I just think it's weird that it got remade so frequently. And I think that gives it that reputation of being more than it is as well, due to the fact that people feel they have to remake it.
Yeah. Also, the name of this film, the title I'm more familiar with it as, Femme, Nikita, what it's titled as in the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing some other countries, because apparently Nikita is a man's name in languages such as Russian.
Yeah.
But the actual film's title when it displays is just simply Nikita.
Yeah. I just want to say Eric Serra does a great music score on this as well. He did the Rollerball 2002 that we covered as well, so it was good to have him kind of return on our podcast. We did GoldenEye, which is very evident when you listen to this, because GoldenEye did use a lot of this.
There's definitely some overlap. It's clearly the style that this composer uses.
Yeah, it's probably what they wanted for GoldenEye, but
I wouldn't be surprised
if that's what they liked from Nikita.
Yes,
use that.
Plus, that's like the new genre of action for the 90s, I guess. And Bond is always trying to copy tropes that have just previously been set up as current.
Yeah, reinvent itself.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool to have that music in it. I do like that score from GoldenEye, so while I'm watching this, it just kind of kept me hooked a little more.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to Point of No Return?
Yeah, Point of No Return from 1993.
We need a young female operative. I think she's the one.
Directed by John Badham and written by Robert Getchell and Alexandra Serra. If I'm right, that's what they're most known for, at least. I didn't recognise much else. And it stars Bridget Fonda and Maggie, Gabriel Byrne as Bob, Dermot Mulroney as JP, Miguel Ferrer as Kaufman, Anne Bancroft as Amanda, and Harvey Keitel as Victor.
Oh, yeah, because he's a cleaner.
Yeah.
But this is before Pulp Fiction, where he played Winston Wolfe,
which we referenced on Paycheck, because that had Winston.
Yeah, there was a character called Winston Wolfe in that, and there was the briefcase thing from Pulp Fiction in that as well, strangely.
Yeah. Oh, and the synopsis for this, like I said, it's a remake. It's the same story, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I don't feel I need to read that, do I?
No. There are some changes made, but it's mostly in the last act.
Yeah, towards the end, it just seems to become more of its own thing.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a bad idea, I don't think.
No, but I don't know if I prefer this or not to the
original.
Just Nikita, yeah.
I think I was just as disappointed.
I think what I did like about this one, though, is it had cast members that I like.
You're more familiar with as well.
Yeah, because Fonda I know from Jackie Brown, which is one of my favourite Tarantino films.
Yeah.
And then it's always great to see...
What? I'm really not sure which name you're going to say here, because I'm quite certain you were going to say Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah.
And then I was also looking at, thinking Miguel Ferrer is also one of your favourite people to show up in things.
Yeah, Miguel Ferrer's great, but it was Dermot Mulroney I was going to say. He's got a charm to him that's always great to see on screen. And I just didn't expect him being in this film.
No.
No.
No, it was odd when I come across the cast for this, because I thought, oh, how would I not really come across it sooner? And then you kind of watch it and go, oh, it's not particularly great.
The problem with
it,
is it's very similar to Nikita to a point where it's like, why have you even made this?
Yeah.
And then you get to the end and it's like, now you're making changes.
Yeah.
Why bother now?
Yeah.
And I don't think the changes made the film any better.
No.
They didn't make it worse either.
No.
But they just felt very unnecessary.
Yeah.
I do feel this maybe had a bigger budget, and I never looked at the budgets for either of them. In fact, I haven't got the budgets or the gross for any of these films.
On about budget, though, we both said it. This feels very TV.
It did. It almost felt like it was made as a 2-part pilot episode for a potential TV series.
And something that really didn't help for that for me was Hans Zimmer's score was just
A mess.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a fan of it anyway, but on this, it added to that TV movie.
Yeah, especially how they chose when it was coming in.
Yeah.
It was like, is there a commercial break now?
And that's a thing where I thought it's that similar to the original.
Yeah.
Could we have just not used the original score for this?
Yeah. I mean, Bridget Fonda was cast as, in fact, she weren't Nikita in this.
She's Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie. Which is very similar to the name that Nikita had originally in Nikita, because they refer to her as Mary Clement at some point. And Nikita's like her spy name.
Yeah.
But Bridget Fonda were originally cast. Well, she was the original cast, but they asked Jodie Foster and Winona Ryder, who both turned it down, and I imagine they're both pretty glad they did.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because Bridget Fonda is a great actress, but she doesn't have much of a career. I feel like she just maybe fell into bad films.
Yeah.
And it's a shame Jackie Brown didn't help revitalize her career in any way when she did that.
Apparently, Halle Berry expressed a lot of interest in this.
Who, sorry?
Halle Berry.
Really?
She was really trying to get the part.
Was she acting this early?
I believe so.
Right.
Yeah, she really wanted the part in there.
Yeah.
And I bet she's also glad she didn't get that. But yeah, the director of this, John Badham, he's known for the 80s movies Short Circuit and War Games, which are cult classics.
Yeah. Short Circuit's a childhood classic for me.
He also directed 3 episodes of the Nikita remake series, the 2010, the 2010 one, which I thought that's pretty cool to get him back.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I thought for that series, I am sure I remembered him getting one of the original or one of the other Nikitas as a guest spot, but no, never happened. So I had to look it up and check, and I just thought I'd make sure if anyone else read that anywhere that one of the other Nikitas were in the 2010 series, it just never happened.
Right.
And none of them were even in the 90s remake either.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame, but I thought I would make it known because for some reason I thought that was proper.
Right. Anything else you want to say on this before we move?
Again, there's not much to say on it. 'Cause we've said it all, because it is just...
The thing is, it's almost like an text. Well, Nikita is like an text to the female spy genre of action films, I would say. And then everything after has found ways to play with it and make it better.
Yeah.
Although, sadly, Point of No Return didn't find ways to make it any better.
No.
And it's not that either of them are a bad film, really. It's just the fact it's very familiar.
Yeah. And now you've seen if they improved the...
Yeah. But it's always nice to look at where these sort of things started, I think.
Yeah. Because it is a good film. And I can see why it had such an impact.
Yeah.
Because it is well made as well.
Yeah.
And it is probably one of Luc Besson's better attempts at making a movie. I'm not much of a fan of him, I realised.
No. I think he's got a lot of great ideas for action films, though.
Oh, yeah. But it turns out every time I go back and watch one of his other films, I should go like, oh, this is a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
As this is, I think, one of the first times I've actually looked forward to watching it and going like, oh, I'm a bit disappointed. But I think it's due to reputation.
Yeah.
And it weren't bad by any means. Like, neither of these have been bad. They were enjoyable movies. Usually expected something a bit more because I thought the remake Point of No Return I thought would have just added to...
Yeah.
It would maybe made it a bit more action, Hollywood it up a bit, but it just didn't feel like a Hollywood movie.
No, but it felt like an indie film.
Yeah.
But it also felt too much like a TV pilot.
Yeah, it's the TV pilot side that really could have been straight to video or something.
There's no magic with it where it's like, this has to be seen on the big screen.
No.
Whereas I think Nikita had that.
Yeah, I'd just watch the opening bit from Nikita and it'd be like, great.
This is solid opening.
Because that didn't even look as good in the American one.
No.
Which is a bit of a shame.
If I'm right, in Nikita, there was a character with him and he had like noughts and crosses shaved into his head.
I think so.
There's some real like punky sort of characters that loved it.
Yeah.
And then America just had like sleazy American versions of it.
They were just your typical 90s thugs that pop up in everything.
Yeah. Arcade shooters.
Yeah.
It's great. Are we moving on?
Yeah.
Great.
연수 씨가 어떤 사람이라도 어떤 일이 있어도 타겟 누구였던 겁니까?
그 남자를 죽여달라. 내가 살 수 있다.
2017's The Villainess. It's South Korean. It's the same as the others. Female assassin film. It's directed and written by Jung Byung-gil, if I'm saying that name right. I hope so. It's also co-written by Byung-sik Jung. I hope I'm saying that right as well. The synopsis on IMDb: a female assassin leaves a trail of bodies behind her as she seeks revenge. The main character is Suki, played by Kim Ok-bin. Then we have Sung Jun as Hyun So, Kim Seo Hyung as Chief Kwon. Then we've got Jo Eun-ji as Kim Seon, Min Ye-ji as Suki, but it's the young Suki.
Yeah.
Park Shul-min as Suki's father, Son Min-ji, I hope I'm saying these names right, as Min-ju,
I can't help you. I haven't got these names listed.
and Kim Yoo-woo as Yoo-hai, I think it is, which was Suki's daughter. I've butchered every name, I reckon.
So maybe that was your goal for this episode.
What, to butcher it?
Just butcher as many names as possible.
Oh, I hope not. This is my favourite one we're covering this week.
And it's also mine.
I mean, I love it. I mean, we talked about the opening for Nikita, but my God, the opening of this is incredible. It's just a first-person action scene, and it's just mental in all the best ways, right?
Oh, yeah.
Plus, the lighting really sets the mood in the opening.
Yeah.
It's in like purpley blue neons. It's in the poster and a lot of the artwork for this film.
That was the most memorable part of the film.
Yeah. The cinematographer is Jung Hun Park. In fact, I never got what else he did, and I wish I had, because cinematography on this is great. And I know they use a lot of different cameras. They were even using a lot smaller cameras than what you would normally use to shoot films on.
Because that helped with the first person.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like there's a scene towards the end, like a big fight scene on a bus. It looks like they're using like a fisheye lens. I think it's a fisheye lens.
Yeah, I believe so.
It looks like they're using something like that, and you get this really sort of claustrophobic feel for the bus, and it's fantastic. One of my favourite fights on a bus, I would say.
Yeah.
This is like Nikita in the fact that, again, she's taken in to be trained as a spy from what seems to be a criminal background, because it all comes back later, if I'm right.
Yeah.
So, like Nikita, it follows the drama a little more, and the character.
Yeah.
And the methods to becoming the spy, and then when she is essentially out for revenge once she tries to get out, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a great build. It's a bit of a non-linear plot as well, in a way, how it keeps skipping back to her origins before she got taken in and so on. But it's just fantastic.
It's a greatly crafted film, because they could have told it, linear.
Yeah.
And I think it'd just come off as a good action film, or just a good film in general. But how they've done it kept you kind of interested.
Yeah, because you always needed a little bit more backstory. It's like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
But it's easy enough to follow.
Yeah.
It's just great. Again, there's a sniper scene in this similar to the one but I think I mentioned that when we were talking about Nikita.
Yeah.
Same with the kitchen shootout.
Yeah.
Shootout in the kitchen in this was phenomenal. I've actually made a note. The action was not choppy. Like, normally at this stage, you'd have your action scenes are quite cut. But here it wasn't.
No.
And it was just great. The main standout scene for me is the opening with this, like it was for Nikita.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever got back to that level.
No.
There's close, there's the bus, and then before the bus there's the bikes with the swords.
Yeah.
They're fighting with swords on motorbikes, which is what inspired the one from John Wick 3.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if this was filmed in the same way. I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes for doing it on John Wick 3. Then bikes aren't actually racing on the road. They're just like on a simulated floor, and the bikes just move on the floor at different speeds.
I've been a bit disappointed when I saw the thing about they did that at the same time. I just couldn't help
but
but respect
when you watch the film, the initiative to do that.
Yeah.
But
I had to
here, I'm not sure how it was filmed. I'm guessing quite similar.
Yeah.
But it's so fast.
It looked great.
Yeah.
The whole film, to be fair, looks great.
Yeah.
There's not a thing out of place.
No. There's a bit of a romance story. Well, I think there was in Nikita and previous as well. Is it? There's like a love interest thing. I think it's done better here.
Yeah. That's another thing. This feels like another remake of Nikita, but actually improving.
Yeah, every stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it pretty much does. Because there's some rom-com tropes in here. There's a meet cute with the neighbour.
Yeah. He's a good character.
Yeah, he is. There's the brolly in the rain. When it's raining, he puts his brolly up for her. There's also a great scene where he goes and chases the bus so it stops for her. He runs after it because she's running with her child. And he's like, oh, she obviously can't make it, and just like goes into a sprint and gets the bus.
I don't want to say that's something that we mentioned last week with Salt, where when it was originally Tom Cruise, apparently he had a child, and they took it out.
Yeah, because they were like, it wouldn't work with them.
Yeah,
here they made it work. Yeah, and it doesn't stop you forgetting that she's a mum either. It's very much a core part of her character in this, that she is a mother.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in the plot that I really love about this, but I don't want to spoil it because of how it twists things and reveals it as well. It would spoil it because of that non-linear format, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to say any more than I've said.
I think when you mention the rom-com tropes with this, I think that really shows how well balanced it is as a movie.
Yeah.
Because it can do all that, and at the same time, it's a revenge thriller action thing, and it's got everything happening, and it's so well balanced.
Yeah.
It does everything just perfectly well.
I would maybe not rom-com trope. Well, the things you would find in a rom-com.
Yeah.
But it's just the romance element, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no comedy play. There's some comedy.
Well, there is comedy in it.
But it's so well balanced. But I've not seen many Korean films, which is a shame to be honest, because I've seen a few and they're absolute bangers.
Yeah.
But they're very good at mixing genres in a way.
Yeah.
Or in the ones I've seen anyway. And they always try and put some sort of romance plot in there.
Yeah.
It seems very much
drama.
Yeah, it seems very much of a Korean thing to do.
Yeah.
But again, this is my favourite, and there's not much more I can say without spoiling it, other than the fact that it's just fantastic. And this is the one I would say is a must-watch.
Yeah.
Even from last week's episode, this is the one I would throw out as a must-watch.
Yeah. Because you've got Salt. I think that's basic action thriller.
Salt's great, but it's very boring.
Yeah. And then you've got Atomic Blonde, which we said was kind of John Wick.
Yeah.
But again, it's an action thriller.
Yeah.
They're good by any means.
No.
Ava is a good one as well, but this is the most unique, I think, even though we've said it's a lot like Nikita.
Yeah.
It does all that better.
And it doesn't feel so much. I think it did to us because we just watched Nikita like hours before.
And you could see the similarities there. There's a lot of it, but
here it's actually elevated it.
yeah. And this does actually feel like what I expected Nikita to feel like. Maybe it doesn't help. No, I watched this first anyway. I did watch this.
It's been good to see this in the cinemas.
Yeah.
In fact, I think this is our third time watching this because I think we watched it again when it came to Amazon for a while.
Most
Not
likely.
long after we saw it in cinema.
Most likely. But I think everyone has to watch that opening scene.
It's such a great opening scene. It really is. Like the first person aspect of it. And she goes into like a gymnasium to fight these guys. And there's mirrors in there. And as far as I can tell, you can't see the camera guy in the mirror.
I genuinely think camera is on
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
I couldn't.
But if you remember, once she sees a mirror, it flips round and it's regular.
Yeah.
Then you couldn't see the camera then.
No.
So,
But I don't know when it's cut.
I don't know.
Could be a really good editing job.
But yeah, it's fantastic.
Really well
Yeah, very well made. I don't think there's any flaws in that film, other than the fact that maybe due to how it's non-linear pacing.
Yeah, sometimes it can feel a bit, when we're back to the drama story, back to the present day. I think it works well enough.
It's balanced well,
Yeah.
but I think there's a sort of a feel there where it is slowing down.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's practically flawless.
Yeah, I think in the middle where it kind of sets up, but it's setting things up.
Yeah.
And once it pays off, it really
It's
pays
great.
off.
I would love to see a sequel to this if they could make one.
It'd be good if they could make one, but I'm not.
But at the
into
same time,
sequels.
yeah, I mean, I love the John Wick films, and I kind of feel the John Wick films kind of get better every time, so it is worth making a sequel.
John Wick for me, it don't get better, it just elevates. Or just on the action.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's
what
what
made it for.
Yeah.
So I guess on that aspect, they do feel like they get better. But John Wick, I'd have been happy with just the first one.
Because John Wick's getting a spin-off with the ballerina thing, which is supposed to be, I can't remember her name now. I think she's in Knock Knock with
Anna Diam.
That's her, yeah, Anna Diamas. I just don't know if they can do better than The Villainess or Red Sparrow that we're going to talk about next.
I believe it's going to be more of an action film, which, if that's what it's going to aim for, it definitely be better than like Red Sparrow.
Well, I guess we're looking for Atomic Blonde meets Red Sparrow.
Probably more than that, yeah.
But I just don't think it's going to be as interesting as some of these we've discussed this week and last.
No.
I mean, I'd like to be proven wrong. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Are we moving on? Is there anything more you want to say about this? Because there's certain things I would love to talk about with The Villainess, but like I said, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's not seen it. And I know for a fact this is probably a film that is not as well known as any of the others we've covered.
No, I can't really say any more, because other than it is just a great action film. If Kim Mok-bin does more action films, I'd be probably interested in watching those.
Yes, that would be a good shout and actually something worth looking up, to be honest. It's not like us to not look things up.
I looked up the director and writer for this, and they'd done a film, Carter, from 2 years ago, but I haven't seen it, so I can't say anything about it other than I've added it to my watch list.
Yeah, same.
Moving on to Red Sparrow.
Yeah.
They gave me a choice. Die or become a sparrow.
Directed by Francis Lawrence, written by Justin Hay, based on the novel by Jason Matthews, starring Jennifer Lawrence as Dominica Igorova, Joel Edgerton, Nate Nash.
What a great name.
It is Nate Nash. Matthias Schoenaerts as Vanya Igorov, Charlotte Rampling as the matron, Kieran Haynes as Zakharov, and Jeremy Irons as General Kirchner. Don't believe I'm missing any others. This is a good one. Watch this in cinema as well.
Sorry, did you say Matthias Schoenaerts?
Yes, I did.
Could I should have been listening, but I was too busy reading my notes.
All right. I was thinking, am I missing names off? I was a bit paranoid.
Synopsis?
I knew I was forgetting something. Ballerina Dominika Igorova is recruited to the Sparrow School, a Russian intelligence service where she is forced to use her body as a weapon. Her first mission, targeting a CIA agent.
I remember watching this when it came out, and I really liked it then. I still like it now, but I don't think I like it as much.
No, I was very similar as well.
The problem being, I remembered it too well rather than anything. When you don't know where it's going, because it's like, I don't want to say to spoil certain things.
Yeah, the twists and the turns.
Yeah.
You're kind of waiting for them to play out, but once you've seen it, you know what's happening, and there isn't much rewatchability to this on that sense.
No, it's just, if you love spy thrillers, I think you'll love this.
Yeah.
Because you didn't say, but the novelist that this is based on the book of, Jason Matthews, he was an ex-CIA operative director.
Yeah.
And I know the book has a little more political background base to it because the studio didn't want to have Vladimir Putin in it, and he's a big part of the novel, apparently. The other writer, though, Justin Hayth, he's an odd one, I think. He wrote Revolutionary Road,
right,
The Lone Ranger, and this is where it gets weird, but like this is where it is obvious that it's him. A Cure for Wellness.
That's the one I had noted because it was the one I watched and liked.
As the director of this is from Iron Legend, Constantine, and however many, I think,
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I think he did 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
I think he come on the second one and then
did the last few.
Yeah.
Right. I've not seen any of them and I probably never will.
No, me neither. I don't care how good of a cast it has.
I particularly liked the cinematographer on this, which was Joe Willems.
Right.
He did His House the other year, which was like a horror for Netflix, which was really worth watching.
Yeah, and
what he did,
Netflix list of reasons to subscribe, which I still haven't gotten around to.
You really think we should do an episode of it? Genuine question. But he also did one of my favourite films from the early 2000s, which was Hard Candy.
Yeah,
which is an absolute banging film and worth checking out.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned, the reason I wanted to make sure that you said that, it was Mathenius Shonetz as Vanya Gorov. He's in one of my favourite films we've seen in the cinemas from the last 10 years or so, which is Racer and a Jailbird.
Yeah, I think that was a similar time to when I watched Villainess.
Yeah, it was. And that's a great foreign film. It's European, but I can't remember what country, because I think it hops across countries in its own story.
I think it's in France.
But if you love crime, heist, thrillers sort of thing,
it's a great one.
So good and different.
Yeah.
He's also in The Loft, which is a great thriller about the guys that buy the loft.
Yeah.
He's in the American one as well. I'm assuming he's maybe a cast follow-over from the original,
right?
Which I'd still like to watch. And he was in Amsterdam a couple of years ago, I think now, and that was worth a watch. And he was in a Netflix film, The Old Guard, based on a Greg Rucka comic.
Yeah.
Starring
Charlize Theron.
Yeah. So I decided to bring that one up.
Yeah.
Not a bad movie. It was okay.
Overrated.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about this film? Sorry, I took over.
I think I like this film, and it's Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
I would have let you guess, but I knew he just came out with it straight off. But I think he's a phenomenal actor.
He's great, yeah. It's fantastic. I love him in
It Comes at Night.
Yeah.
Or any other film he's in, because I think he's a great actor.
I think this was before Mother, and really proves to me that Jennifer Lawrence is maybe worth paying attention to.
Yeah, and I think these 2 films, and then I don't really feel she's done.
I would say this is my first Jennifer Lawrence movie I watched, but I think there's like a horror from a while back about a house.
Yeah, there is. Is that
House at the end of the street?
Yeah, that. And then she was in X-Men First Class.
Yes.
Which was apparently before Hunger Games, and that still surprises me.
Yeah, I feel that's a sort of, I don't know, a parallel universe.
I thought everyone knew she was when X-Men was coming out, because I could have swore everyone like, oh, it's her from Hunger Games. So I'm right.
Is Hunger Games the first one, or is that the name of the second one?
It's the name of the franchise.
Right, okay. Why are you looking at me like that? Genuinely didn't know. I mean, I know that's the name of the franchise, but I thought maybe it was the second movie to it, and the first one was something like Trying Times or Hard to Eat or something. I don't know. My District's Under Attack.
I saw that Darren Aronofsky and David Fincher were attached to this.
Yeah, which I'm quite amazed about.
Yeah, and then it ends up with Francis Lawrence.
From his history of film that he's directed, I would never have... Like, if somebody said, pick a director to do this, he's not one I would have gone to.
No. Like I said, Aronofsky and Fincher, I thought Fincher to me seems like the guy who could have done that.
I think Aronofsky could as well.
I'm not saying he couldn't, but Fincher, it seems like something he would do.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he seemed to take a step back from these sort of films until he came back with The Killer, with Fassbender on Netflix.
Not worth your Netflix subscription for.
I found it quite disappointing as well. Yeah. The comic looks good that it's based on, though. Yeah. It's a French comic, I believe. If people want to check it out, you can find it. Same name, it's The Killer. I think there's like 3 volumes to it. It's not much.
Yeah. I have to mention that James Newton Howard does the music on this because now it's 3 weeks on the trot. We're just picking from his back catalogue of films.
All right.
So next week, I'm really hoping we've got one.
But we are an audio media, so maybe we should just do an episode on James Newton Howard.
His scores are always just, good. They do the movie justice, but
I like everything he brought to the Batman Begins movie when it comes to the music in that film.
well, I liked him for Green Lantern. For some reason, that's the movie I know he does.
To me, it's just Batman Begins. It's like, oh, that's the guy from Batman Begins.
I thought they gave him Green Lantern because they threw him off Dark Knight.
No, they didn't throw him off. He couldn't do it. He was contracted to another film when it came.
Well, to me, it was more, oh, I have another DC movie. This Green Lantern's going to be a banger.
Kind of wish he was still on for Dark Knight, to be honest. I bet Green Lantern was the film that he was contracted to. Was that the same year?
I don't know. Green Lantern's 2011.
Oh, right. It's a lot later.
Yeah, that's why maybe they gave him it because he couldn't do Dark Knight.
Charlotte Rampling, you mentioned, was in this as a matron.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe the third film we've covered with her in.
Definitely the second.
Nope, never mind. I think you're right. Yeah, second. It's just about that I brought up that she was in like Zardos and Dexter and some other like Dune Part 2 or Dune Part 1.
She might be in both, I can't remember. But she was in Angel Heart, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, great film.
Best thing she's in.
Zardos.
You like Sean Connery and whatever the hell he wears in that.
I like that film, but I like that film because of how stupid it is.
I love that thing where it's Sean Connery turned down Lord of the Rings because he didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So he did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, wished he hadn't. But for some reason, he did Zardos, and it's just a picture of him wearing whatever the hell that
weird like leather manton thing with a holster for his pistol.
Yeah. And the film's just absolutely weird anyway. So it's like he did that.
It's such a bizarre premise.
So in my mind,
based on a novel, but I'm not 100%.
I thought it was an all original idea.
Oh, right. I'll have to look into it maybe.
Just bring it to the podcast.
With what? Do you pair with Zardos? That film is on another level.
Underrated sci-fi.
So like Equilibrium.
Is that underrated? Everyone likes it.
I don't know. I see it on lists for underrated and overrated. So who knows what it is? I guess that's the Equilibrium.
I think we come across the writer of that.
That was a good joke.
Sorry, I got more distracted by I'm sure we come across the writer of that on something else.
Could be right.
Yeah, it was for Salt. He's the writer on Salt.
Right.
I knew I'd seen his name somewhere recently.
You've got a good memory for what we cover on this podcast. I feel like I forget it once we've recorded. Probably don't help because I can't read my writing. I'd remember if I could read.
I'm going to say, I do read my notes in here quite frequent. And as we've stated many a time, you cannot read your own writing.
That's why when this notebook's full, I might start just using Google Docs.
I like having the notebook.
I do. I'm also worried about how much space it'll take if we've been doing this podcast for 10 years. I'm just past halfway and we're not even halfway through a year's worth of episodes.
I thought it'd be good to have
the history.
I'm hoping this one lasts me the year and then I can just have a year-by-year podcast notebook.
Okay.
I thought that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. Are we ready to wrap up then?
Did we actually discuss this movie?
I don't remember. I got sidetracked.
I read the plot.
There's a lot I can say about this movie, but again, it's similar to Villainess. Like, I'm worried what I can say about the spoilers.
The performances are all great, and the story, an interesting one. Oh, that was it. It's based on a novel, but there's 3 novels. I think it's
there's another 2.
So I'm just kind of thinking, I'm guessing we're not getting the other 2.
I hope so, but I can't see it happening.
Not 6 years later.
Maybe. Depends if there's a time jump in the novels.
No, that's a very good point. Do you think they're contracted to come back 10 years?
I did see at one point this movie was going to be more of a period piece, and they were going to set it back to like 1980 or 1990 or something.
Yeah, well, I think that would have probably made it a bit more interesting, give it a bit more of a different...
Or they were going to throw it back into that Cold War era.
Yeah.
I think it was just a way to write out Putin, but I can't remember which director they had attached or writer when they were doing that. And then it became this. But I think it's more different having it in present day.
Yeah, I suppose so. But you could have been a bit more like Atomic Blonde and play all them 80s hits.
Yeah, but I don't think tonally that would have worked for this.
No.
This is quite a more somber, is that the word, energy? You know, it's very...
Yeah, it's a different sort of film.
This plays for realism.
Yeah.
And I guess that's to do with the writer of the novel being an ex-CIA operative. In fact, he weren't just a CIA operative, he was the operations director of the CIA.
If I'm right, he was also a consultant on this film.
Yes,
Francis Lawrence.
Yeah, he talked to him a lot about, because he wanted to keep faithful, so any changes he wanted to make sure he had like authorization and stuff. Yeah, I remember reading that.
Oh, that was something. The matron's speech in there goes, "Your body belongs to the state. Since your birth, the state nourished it. Now the state asks something in return." It's
From the Hunger Games.
no.
Oh,
I'm going to go back. I'm going to mention a name we mentioned last week, and it's very similar to Rosa Kleb's speech from the novel of From Russia With Love,
Right, okay.
in which that is, "Your body belongs to the state has nourished it, now your body must work for the state."
and you had to do the Hunger Games.
Yeah. So they changed the last bit.
About the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep mentioning that. Was maybe the sequel to this, Red Sparrow 2, The Hunger Games?
I honestly don't know anything about the Hunger Games other than the fact that they've all got a pretty decent cast.
Hang on, I remember that guy was very good at decorating cakes, so he decorates himself and hides as a bush or something.
And it's about districts fighting.
Yeah.
It just looks like a bad version of Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think Jennifer Lawrence's character's in it. It's called Cat. I don't know. And uses a bow and arrow.
Yeah. People say she made the bow and arrow popular, and
I saw Robin Hood did that by himself.
yeah.
Or maybe it's whoever invented the bow and arrow.
I meant for modern media.
Oh, was Hawkeye not first in films?
That's what I thought. But everyone would have mocked him for having a bow. You know, like, look at him with all them
Was
super.
Arrow not first?
Arrow in
2012 or 13, isn't it?
same year, I think. I'm not sure now.
But obviously there was Green Arrow in Smallville before that.
Yeah. And he had a crossbow.
Oh, he did, didn't he? They ruined him.
Well, he also did have a bow, but he was very tech heavy.
Yeah.
Not to talk about Smallville. Sorry. I know it's a good show. We should probably do a whole episode on it.
A whole episode for 10 seasons.
2 episodes.
Yeah, I really don't know what I can say about this without spoiling it. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah.
Joel Edgerton's character, Nate Nash, is a great name. He had great fashion sense. He had a nice coat and a little hat.
When you say a little hat, I just imagine one of them little hats just sat on his head.
Like a fez, like what Tommy Cruise.
Yeah. One of them just sat on his head.
I think it was a beanie.
Yeah,
It looked great, though. Cool style.
He's a cool guy. Cover It Comes at Night, because that is a great hat.
I do want to do that. I'm just struggling to think of some films to pair with it.
Yeah.
And I'm scared that that's hard to talk about without spoiling.
Yeah, maybe.
Similar to this. Because I thought I'd be able to say a lot about this. And every time I'm thinking of something to say, I think, oh, that's maybe a little spoilerish.
I say there's not.
I wouldn't say watch this for Jeremy Irons. He's not in it very much, is he?
No, and every time I look at my notes, I think I've wrote General Kenobi. That's like, I keep looking at it and think, why have I wrote that? And it doesn't help. I've got Joel Edgerton in on here as well. And he's part of the prequel trilogies.
Yeah,
So-
he's Moisture Farmer.
Yeah. He's Luke.
Uncle Skywalker.
Yeah, he's Luke Uncle or something. He's not in it enough.
Came back for Kenobi.
It's my favourite thing in that. I'm a bit surprised because from what I remember of Constantine, it's a great looking film. And what I remember of I Am Legend, it's a great looking film. What I remember from this, I can't.
It's a great looking film, but it doesn't look like them.
And it should by any means. No, they're here grounded film, so I'm not saying it should look like that, but I just maybe it's something to do with cinematography. But yeah, it's
A more realistic graphic
Yeah.
set.
yeah, so it didn't have to
No,
be anything else.
I'll be honest, I'd love it if the new Bond films took this sort of approach, though.
Yeah, would be pretty good. I suppose. Joel Edgerton in it.
Sure, he can be Bond. He's Australian.
That'd be great.
It wouldn't be the first time we've had an Australian as Bond.
So it shouldn't be the last.
Definitely.
There really isn't much you can say about this.
No, without spoiling it, I don't feel.
Yeah.
Because there's some great scenes, but if I go into what them scenes are, I feel it would spoil it because it's like, oh, well, this is going to lead to this happening.
The whole performances are great.
If I'd have thought about this problem when we decided to cover this film, I maybe wouldn't have covered this film.
Well, we've also discussed Nikita in as much detail, I feel, as well.
I brought stuff up in Nikita.
Yeah. We've got breezed through these pretty quick.
There's some great scenes in this. I think it does tension quite well.
Yeah.
And I
Like
don't
we
think
said-
you ever know where it's going to go this either.
Yeah, it's had the twists and turns where it can go and what it can do. I mean, I'm still waiting for that sequel, to be honest.
Other one.
I want the whole trilogy. I don't know more about Villainess. I'm not bothered about a sequel, but for this one, I know there's a trilogy of books.
Yeah. So there has to be a trilogy.
This was a great film. Where are them others?
Both this and Mother underperformed in the box office, though, didn't they?
No one cared for Jennifer Lawrence.
No.
I thought she was a bad actress. And
But I didn't care for her because I didn't care about them Hunger Game movies or them X-Men movies.
I'm going to say it didn't help. You were in X-Men movies, and I didn't like any of those with her in, really.
Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix was pretty good, and I will stand my ground on that, as all the X-Men fans online will tell me I'm wrong. But it weren't as bad as people said. But yeah, the whole cast of this does really well, and it is a really well-made film.
Yeah,
And I feel like
fantastic.
that is all we're going to repeat for the next 5 minutes if we don't wrap up.
Oh, you waiting on me to wrap? So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. And remember to join us again next week as we unearth more gems from cinema's depths, as we discuss some of the modern great rom-coms as they celebrate their anniversaries this year, which are 1999's 10 Things I Hate About You, 2004's Garden State, and 2009's 500 Days of Summer. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Start from the beginning and tell us what happened.